In this bulletin, COVID-19 numbers rise in Nandi. Variant in Fiji confirmed. And cancer patients face COVID-19 crisis. Good afternoon. There were a total of 38 COVID-19 cases between Sunday and yesterday, taking the total number of active cases to 267. With 9 infections announced last night, yesterday's total was 32 after the 23 earlier announced infections. This was apart from the 6 from Sunday night. The cases yesterday were 2 from the Narere cluster, 3 are from the Waila cluster, 13 are linked to Nawaka in Nandi cluster, and 15 are from the Navy and 5 from Wanikoso Nasinu cluster. Fiji now has 267 active cases, with 252 of these cases from the Lami Suva containment zone and 15 cases from Nandi. The Health Ministry says 2 of the active cases in Suva are considered to be severe cases. There have been 368 cases since this outbreak started in April 2021. A total of 2,475 samples were tested yesterday at the national level. An average of 3 tests per 1,000 population has been conducted over the last 7 days. The Ministry of Health has confirmed that the virus circulating in the country is B1617.2, the variant of concern that was first identified in India. Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong says this has been revealed after receiving the genomic sequencing results from the reference lab in Melbourne for positive samples during the outbreak. He adds the most recent case sample in this batch of results is case 158, an extra supermarket employee. The ministry analyzed data from 82 people this week and noted that they had 3,444 contacts among them. This further highlights the need to only go out for essential purposes, use the Care Fiji app, and remember movements to assist in contact tracing. It adds that misunderstanding, complacency, and wishful thinking are some of the greatest obstacles in combating COVID-19. The ministry says their contact tracing makes clear that the average person can come into contact with dozens of other people in the course of a day. The British Army recruitment that was scheduled for last month has been put on hold amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Royal British Legion manager Merawalesi Dewa Langilangi says they haven't received any latest developments from the British government over the past few weeks regarding the logistics of the recruitment drive. Dewa Langilangi adds once the green light is given, they will issue a public notice for interested individuals to submit their applications. She needs more understanding and she needs more understanding and patience from the public, considering the massive queries and backlogged applications yet to be facilitated.
Just to let the public know that for the meantime, there's no confirmation from the UK to see when the recruitment will be opened. I know it was mentioned by the British High Commissioner that it will be opening by end of last month, but unfortunately, till date, still there's no confirmation at all to say that it still is open.
Acting Commissioner of Police Rusiate Tundravu has stressed that despite repeated advisories, some people remain defiant and disregarded COVID-19 restrictions as well as the curfew orders imposed. Tundravu is pleading with the public to follow the restrictions and avoid putting themselves in regrettable situations. This comes as police recorded a total of 16 arrests over the last 24 hours for failing to comply with the restrictions and orders. The Western Division recorded 4 cases whereby all were found intoxicated at Nauria village in Ra. In the Eastern Division, 3 farmers were arrested of Natokalau in Levuka were arrested after they were caught drinking grog and breaching the health restrictions. The Central Division recorded 2 cases, 7 in the Southern Division and none in the North. Lack of technological resources and the related institutional capacity to adjust to online learning has seen a halt in student studies. The Fiji Higher Education Commission says that cancellation of industry practical components, hands-on assessments and examinations are the cause of major disruptions for the technical vocational educational training providers. Interim Director Vijay Naidu says that while some can continue remotely, others have suspended training. Naidu added, unfortunately, choices are very limited in the crisis we're currently facing, and for some institutions, there are no choices at all. TVET programs was an effort to close the widening gap between white-collar and blue-collar jobs. The Fiji Cancer Society has recorded 4 deaths during the lockdown and border restrictions period, and there are fears of more unreported cases. Chief Executive Belinda Chan says prior to merging of the Lami Suva and Nosori containment border, a good number of cancer patients were not able to access chemotherapy. Chan says access to hospitals and clinics were a challenge for majority of the cancer patients during lockdown.
I only know of 2 that have come to my attention, so basically 2 that I have dealt with personally. And in the West, I think it was flagged today when they forwarded their report that there were 2 from Nandi, and this is all since lockdown on the 26th of April.
Up ahead, Samusamu Vondre hopes to inspire. And Naomi Osaka withdraws from French Open. Welcome back. Sacrifice and determination will drive you to success. This is the sentiment that has been keeping Fijian flyer Tuinraki Samusamu Vondre on his toes into achieving his goal. After recently signing a contract in the Major League Rugby with New England Free Jacks, the 23-year-old shared the struggles that came with it. Samusamu Vondre initially signed with Dallas but had the contract terminated, where he landed a 2-year deal with New England Free Jacks. He has encouraged young budding ruggers to never give up on their dreams.
I've had to go through some tough times to make it here, and I want to encourage young rugby players that not only talent can take you places but hard work.
The State of Origin Game 1 will now be played in Townsville and not Victoria. 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka has withdrawn from the French Open following the bitter fallout from her decision to boycott all media activity. Onto the weather, a deep low-pressure system to the far south of Fiji continues to generate and direct moderate to damaging heavy southerly swells over Fiji waters and is expected to ease from tomorrow. That's FBC News Now. Join us for our 1-hour major bulletin at 7 p.m. And be sure to download the FBC app to access the latest in news, sports, and live radio broadcasts from any of our 6 FBC radio stations. Stay safe and good afternoon.